What's going on, guys? It's Mike back in the home studio for a few hours until the next trip is happening, and it's happening soon. I want to take a couple minutes and put together another video. This is going to be a kind of a quick one. It's going to be a follow-up to my last video. If you haven't watched the last video, take a couple minutes and give it a look. Long and short of it, though, I'm just not buying this argument that all work is terrible, all bosses are terrible, et cetera, et cetera. People reacting and responding in anger when you put out there that, hey, there's all these great opportunities and you can change your circumstance and so on. And they're just fighting back with this kind of vitriol saying, how dare you, how offensive, how insensitive you to say this because work is horrible. It's horrible. Business is horrible. Companies are horrible. Workspaces are horrible. And the list goes on and on and on. And I just pushed back on that and just said, look, I don't agree. I don't buy it. It's not a categorical fact. In fact, it's just the opposite. Work is good for you. Not every company is a bad company. There are plenty of great companies out there, small and large. And if you don't like your circumstances, well, why don't you just change it? It's a free world for the most of us. There's some people watching this that are not living in free economies. I'm not sure how you're watching YouTube right now, but if you are, my heart goes out to you. You're stuck. But the rest of us, we've got it pretty good. America, Europe, South America, North America, all these countries. I mean, there's countries. South America and North America are continents, ladies and gentlemen, and yours truly should know that. But for the most part, people living in relatively free societies, and there are some societies that are not very free in South America, have the opportunity to get another job, even in Canada, who's locked down and seems quite fascistic, if you will, under the regime of pretty boy Justin Trudeau. Even under that harsh regime, people are allowed to go get a new job. Imagine that. So where I'm going with this is to say, if you don't like your circumstances, you can change it. We all have to admit we can change our circumstances. Now, I want to talk about something specifically. I'm going to unpack this in later videos because I think this is a really deep and important concept, but I at least want to get it on the table. And that is this concept of attention. Attention. Now, I'm not vibey. I'm not one of these people that's like, oh, if you put out into the universe positive thoughts, positive things will come back to you, the vibrations and all this kind of just new age gobbledygook. For me, if you're going to be spiritual, if you're going to believe in the transcendent, you're going to believe in the mystical, well, then you got to go all the way in and go Christianity. It is thousands and thousands of years of beauty and proven out truth. It's transformed lives. It's transformed nations. It's transformed history. You can hear the dog barking in the background because I think UPS is outside. But if you're going to go this kind of vibey, new agey thing, for me, why don't you go all in and just embrace true spirituality? So I reject that kind of vibey, positive vibe stuff. But that said, there is something about attention that I think we have to talk about. We have to talk about this because what you attend to, what you pay attention to, what you attend to matters. It matters. It changes things. And this isn't from a vibey, weird, new agey, spiritualistic perspective. It just changes things. So what you attend to and how you attend to it matters. I'll give you a simple example. You take a dog, you see a dog running out in the street, it's running around, not your pet, it's off a leash, whatever. If you take 3 or 4 different people looking at that dog, they're going to attend to this loose dog, okay? The first person lives in the neighborhood. They're looking at this loose dog saying, I don't recognize the dog. So they're attending to this dog as a resident of the neighborhood. I don't recognize the dog. I don't know whose it is. It's strange that it's not on a leash. It's strange that there doesn't seem to be an owner anywhere around. And so as a person who lives in the neighborhood, you're attending to this loose dog and you're thinking about it through that lens. And that is going to impact the way that you behave. You're probably going to go out there, especially if you're a dog owner yourself, you're going to say, oh, let me try to catch this dog. Let me see if it's got any tags on it. Maybe I can find the owner. Let me start asking, hey, do you guys know, does anybody, oh yeah, I think that dog belongs to somebody. And your focus is going to be trying to reunite this lost dog in your mind with its owner. Because you're attending to this dog as a person in this neighborhood. And so you're seeing it through that lens. That's how you're attending. Now, the second person attending to this dog is the county dog catcher. This person shows up, they're thinking about that dog differently. They're attending to it, but they're thinking about it through a different lens, through a different framework. They're thinking about it through the laws of the county. They're thinking it through safety issues. They're thinking about it. It's a menace now. This, instead of you who are like, I feel bad, this dog's separated from its owner. I've got to try to find, like, oh no, there's a lost dog. The dog catcher's not going, oh no, there's a lost dog. The dog catcher's saying, here's a menace. It's my job to eliminate this menace. The dog catcher, unless they're just a good person, is not typically known to be like, oh, I just love dogs. I try to catch them all because I want to hug them all and love them all and just collect them all. No, they're putting that dog in the back of that truck. The other dogs in there are terrified. It's terrified. If it's, the dog senses the hostility, it senses the kind of anxiety, it might snap. Then they're going to use tools and techniques to subdue the dog. The dog's going to end up in a pound somewhere. And sadly, that dog will probably meet its end if no one claims the dog. It'll be euthanized. And that's how that dog catcher is attending. Now, let me give you a third. The third person attending to that dog is a veterinarian. A veterinarian sees this dog, and they're thinking something different. They're probably thinking of it from a health perspective. They're looking at the dog. Does the dog look healthy? Does it look a little mangy? What's the behavior of the dog? Is it erratic? Is it, the veterinarian has all this medical training for animals, and it's looking at that dog, trying to assess and think about the dog from a health perspective. Is the dog healthy? Is it at risk? Is it exhibiting behaviors and symptoms that kind of give me a clue as to what's going on with this dog? Does it have rabies, and so on? And then let's throw in a last person. Maybe the last person attending to this dog is a small child, and the small child lives in a home that doesn't have pets, is not really familiar with animals, and in fact is scared when dogs bark at it. That small child sees the dog and sees something completely different. That small child is terrified. The kid's playing in his front yard. This dog is loose. It could be a very friendly dog, maybe a very enthusiastic dog, a puppy still. So it's just enthusiastic, a little, aggressive in the sense that it's bouncy and physical. That kid's terrified. That kid thinks the dog is going to kill it. The kid thinks the dog is going to bite it. The kid thinks that the dog is going to, harm them in some way. And so they're screaming bloody murder. They're just terrified and then the dog hears the scream, comes running at the kid. And because the dog's all wound up, and then the dog's tussling with the kid, horsing around, the kid's terrified, thinks, he's being killed. The parent comes out screaming. So you can see one dog, same dog, but with four different individuals all attending to the dog and attending to the dog in different ways. You get four different outcomes. You get four different even perspectives. People are seeing something different. Now, this isn't just to focus on subjectivism. And if you just change your subjectivity, everything changes. But I do want to say the way that we attend to the world around us matters. What we attend to and how we attend to it has the power to change the world around us. This isn't just mental power. This isn't just positive vibes. So if you're sitting there and you're like, I'm in a bad job, I'm really unhappy in this job, or I've got no job, or whatever that is, if you sit and say, okay, look, I have to find a way out of this. I've got to find a way out. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to focus. I'm going to focus on my current job. I'm going to focus on my skill set. I'm going to focus on my training. I'm going to start focusing on the market out there. I'm going to focus on networking. I'm going to start attending to my circumstances in a way that empowers me, that broadens my context, my understanding of my situation. It gives me a better picture of what's going on. I'm going to start breaking this down. Where are the connections? Where are the opportunities? Who are the players in my field? What have I heard about this company? What have I heard about that company? Who do I know over there? Who do I know that can introduce me to someone that knows someone that knows someone? How can I start working on my resume? People that attend to their situation and attend to it in a way that is positive and active and proactive, if you will, those are the people that see dramatic changes. And so in my last video, I'm like, I don't buy it. These people that are just complaining and angry. And look, I want to be very clear. I understand there are people that complain and are angry. They've had terrible things happen in their life, and we don't know. Now, sometimes I'm a jerk in the comments, and again, I've got to put it out there. I do apologize. I'm working on. I want to become better at that. I want to become bigger. I don't mind trolling. I don't mind having fun with the trolls. I don't mind, going neck and neck and fisticuffs or whatever. It's kind of fun. But there is a point where it's like sometimes people are bringing something to the table and they're just angry. I don't know. Maybe they've lost a loved one. Maybe their marriage is falling apart. Maybe they got fired for something that they never did. They were wrongly accused, and they just haven't been able to get past that. So I'm sensitive to those kinds of things. I get that stuff happens. But even in all those circumstances, you can't just sit. I mean, maybe you need time to process. Maybe you need time to get over something. Look, there's all the grace in the world to do that. There's all the grace in the world to do that. But at some point, when you've got to re-engage, you've got to re-engage the world and say, okay, what's within my control? I can control my attitude, I can control my behaviors, and I can absolutely control what I attend to and how I attend to it. And the opposite of this is true too. If you're going to get on some forum on Reddit that talks about why, the American system is evil, and fair enough, I'm not a big capitalist. I mean, for what it's worth, I could get into like my monarchism and I'm definitely for free markets, but to me, free markets don't have to equal capitalism. I love private industry. I'm not big on publicly traded companies and all that means. But anyway, that's another 20 videos for another 20 weeks. But you can get onto these forums that are like anti-society, anti-government, anti-business, anti-money, it's communism, anti-fascism, all this kind of stuff. Like you just get wound up. You can join Antifa. You can just become. You see these headshots of some of these Antifa folks. They look like they really struggle to fit into society. You can go, I'm against the bourgeoisie and I hate bourgeois society, and you can get into everything that you're against, but that's a way of attending. And when you attend that way, that leads to certain ways of thinking, that leads to certain ways of behaving. And those ways don't actually lead to you finding fulfillment. They don't lead to you finding happiness. And I don't mean fulfillment and happiness just as a selfish thing, like, hey, I'm out there just to be happy. But you're a human being. You're created to operate a certain way. And the more you can attend to taking control over your situation, the more you can attend to changing your attitude, your perspective, and behaving in certain ways that change your circumstances, well, the happier you're going to be, the more fulfilled you're going to be. And so I just want to encourage you guys to think about how you're attending to things. If you're struggling, think about, what is it that I'm attending to? What do I focus on? What gets my focus? Maybe do a little audit, a formal, informal, take some notes if you need to. Like, what do I focus my attention on? What is it that I'm physically looking at all the time? What am I thinking about all the time? What's the nature of those things? And be honest with yourself. Be brutally honest. What is it that I attend to? People do this when they do a diet. They write down all the food and the calories and they go, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I drink 16 cocktails a day. No wonder I'm obese. Maybe I should cut back to 8. Do a little audit. What is it that you attend to? And then start thinking about, well, what are the positive things? What are the things that are good, that are true, that are right? What are the things that I can attend to that help me start to get a better perspective on the reality around me, and help me to behave in ways that move me forward out of my current situation into something more desirable? Guys, I would love to know what you think about this. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm going to be back in the saddle soon. I have to get this one last trip out of my system here for a few weeks, and then I'm going to be able to do some videos that go a little deeper than just a quick sit down, although this one's a little long. But let me know what you think in the comments. Do you guys think about what you attend to? What do you think you give most of your attention to? Have you applied this thinking in your own life? And if so, what has been the effect, if any? And do you totally disagree? Do you disagree? If so, I'd love to know. Guys, leave a comment down below. Do me a favor, hit that like button. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to your boy Mike. I would love to have you along in the community. And until the next time, please know I love you all, and I'll catch you in the next video.